This is Weirdly Enough, your regular podcast for strange stories and amazing facts, delivered straight to your favorite podcast directory and at weirdlyenough.com. Now, here are your hosts, Andy and Len.
Well, we're getting all D-Mob happy here because it's the last episode of Series 3 of Weirdly Enough. They said it would never last, and look at that. We're looking towards Series 4 in the autumn. Do like and subscribe to our podcast wherever you... I heard somebody say the other day, wherever you cast your pods.
Yeah,
that's just too annoying. Wherever you get your podcasts, do look for Weirdly Enough and subscribe to it, because it'll drop off and it'll go down the list and down the list because we're not putting any episodes out over the summer. But as soon as we release a new one, it's going to bounce up there to the top again. Another podcast recommendation I have is, have you heard of Uncanny? Have you listened to any of the Uncanny podcasts?
No. What's it like?
Brilliant. Look for it. It's a guy called Danny Robbins. It's a Radio 4 podcast series. But he's doing a summer special, and it's all ghost stories, and there's some things about the Todmorden alien UFO sightings. One of the one he did was Alan Brooke Hall, in Queen's University. The haunted room. There's supposed to be hauntings in that. It's torn down now, but do check out. And the soundcraft's amazing. We can't really compete with the BBC, but how he does the sound, and it's just really quite spooky. But there's going to be a summer episode of that. Danny Robbins is great. He also writes plays. He had a play in the West End with Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She was acting in it.
Right, yes.
It was about ghosts. It was something about ghosts. I don't know, but yeah, check out Uncanny wherever you get your podcasts. It's on BBC Sounds app as well, I think.
Can I do a quick recommendation?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's an interesting one. It's a kind of a dark subject, but it's actually really interesting.
Right.
It's called Atomic Hobo.
Okay, right.
And I actually came across it. It was during the whole thing, the start of the Ukraine crisis, and I was looking a bit dicey for a few weeks. It's a bit dicey, but it was really dicey for a few weeks.
I could show you my dried food store.
It was getting a bit...
I've still got a dried food stored.
If you know the reference, it was getting a little bit Fred's, to be honest, for my liking, And
it's still, I know. I think it's the media scariness.
I just wish this. Do you know what winds me up though? They keep talking about the Satan could wipe Britain out in like 2 months. Well, that's probably been the case since the 60s.
Yeah,
It's not. It's much of a muchness. It's. But Atomic Hobo is really good. It's presented by the Scottish lady called Gilly McDowell. And it's just basically about all kinds of aspects of the Cold War, and specifically in Britain.
Right, okay.
So if you're interested in bunkers and all that sort of stuff, it's pretty good. And she does a bit about like different films, like Fred's and the American one the day after and things like that. So it's worth checking out. It's on YouTube, but it's also on the podcast sort of hosts. She did a very good one recently with the guy that wrote Fred's. It's actually well worth a listen. So it's worth checking out. Atomic Hobo.
Actually, strangely enough, I was chatting to my brother-in-law, who the big house here in the town. I'll not say where it is exactly, because I was talking to him about all this, about worrying about what was happening and all. And he said, "Well, you can have one of our area shelters if you want." I said, "What do you mean one of?" He said, "Well, we've got 3 down there."
Okay. I see if he turned around and said
so
about an area shelter, I'd be intrigued.
Yeah, but the fact there's 3.
I'm really intrigued. Tell me more.
That's all I know. He just says with 3.
Did you not pump him for information after that?
Maybe in the new series we should go and have a little look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
do an interview.
We'll do that. Yes.
And where's this fellow based?
I don't really want to say.
In
case people are trying to get into the air raid shelters, they are Second World War air raid shelters. They're not nuclear bunkers. It must be said.
I take it they're underground. Or are they sort of their little concrete kind of...
They might be the kind of Nissan Hut style ones. I don't know anything about them.
We got to get down there.
Yeah, I know.
We got to get down there. There's one place I'd love to go is there's a guy that has restored... the Royal Observer Corps, they used to have these little bunkers called posts.
Yes.
And they'd be very small, just for about 3 people. Normally about 15 feet sort of underground, little small, almost just little rooms really underground. Yeah. But there's a guy, he restored a post down near Portadown.
Okay.
And he runs a little mini, you know the way you get these little Cold War museums and bunkers? He's got a little kind of mini kind of Northern Irish one down there. So I'd love to go down there. It'd be quite interesting.
Yeah. Today's episode is all about shadow people. You tell us more, because I don't know what this is about at all.
This is going to be creepy AF.
Oh, right, okay.
So yeah, this is season 3, episode 29. And we're talking about shadow people. Have you ever been watching TV when suddenly in the periphery of your vision you catch a glimpse of what appears to be a shadowy figure in the room with you? Dark, shadowy, humanoid figures like these are commonly known as shadow people.
It happened to me earlier today. I saw somebody walk past. Yeah.
Could have been a shadow person. They can be extremely scary and unsettling to the people that experience seeing them. Defining exactly what shadow people are and if they're actually paranormal is up for debate. They're also known as a shadow figure, shadow being, or black mass. That's the perception of a patch of shadow as a living humanoid figure, and interpreted as the presence of a spirit or another entity by believers in the paranormal or supernatural.
Very strange.
It's been a popular topic since it was featured on the famous Coast to Coast AM late night radio talk show. And it was discussed at length on the show on 12th of April 2001 when Art Bell interviewed Native American elder Thunder Strikes, who is also known as Harley Swift Dare Reagan. During the show, listeners were encouraged to submit drawings, which were immediately shared public on the website of Coast to Coast AM. In October that year, 2001, Heidi Hollis published her first book on the topic of shadow people, as dark silhouettes with human shapes and profiles that flicker in and out of peripheral vision, and claims that people have reported that the figures attempted to jump on their chest and choke them. She believes the figures to be negative alien beings that can be repelled by various means, including invoking the name of Jesus Christ.
Right.
Although participants in online discussion forums, we love the forums, don't we?
Oh yes, there's always a good forum, yeah. Remember news groups? They were great.
You have to watch for the energy vampires, though.
Energy vampires in forums, yes.
Yeah.
Colin Robbins.
Yes, exactly. Devoted to paranormal and supernatural topics, these forums describe them as menacing. Other believers and paranormal authors do not agree whether shadow people are either evil, helpful, or neutral, and some even speculate that shadow people may be the extra-dimensional inhabitants of another universe. Some paranormal investigators and authors, such as Chad Stambra, that's a name.
Yeah.
you know you're a winner if you're called Chad.
It's nearly as good as what was the Native American called? Thunder Strikes. Yeah.
Have you ever seen Giga Chad?
Giga Chad? No, what's that?
He's a fine figure of a man.
Okay, Giga Chad.
You ever check out that name, Giga Chad? Chad Stambra claimed to have recorded images of shadow people on video.
Right.
Professional witch and psychic. How do you become a professional witch? There's Giga Chad there.
There's Giga Chad.
Fine figure of a man.
Yes.
Something else.
A professional witch? I don't know. I think.
Sorry, I was distracted by his abs there. They're very impressive. Yeah. How do you become a professional witch?
I suppose you're a witch already, and you decide to take your talent further.
I don't know if she's a white witch or a black witch, but Renee Watch, she says shadow people are a bit of an enigma in the paranormal community. They're often thought of as ghosts or of a collection of negative energy, but as is true of most paranormal phenomena, there's no finite answer. According to Watt, shadow people can appear in different forms and may even indicate that someone is under a psychic attack. Many paranormal experts also theorise that there may be a connection between shadow people and extraterrestrial life, and that these beings could be otherworldly in origin or have a collision with alleged alien abduction experiences. There's one thing people agree on. Now, they don't agree as supernatural or as an alien or whatever, but they agree that the presence of shadow people is very unsettling.
Yes, I would think so.
These shadowy humanoid entities have a bit of a murky reputation, Watt says, as most people who report seeing them state they feel uncomfortable, scared, and in some extreme cases even paralysed with fear. Most reports on shadow people are overwhelmingly negative and are accompanied by a feeling of dread.
Right.
A woman says she got goosebumps when she noticed the shadow person in one of the photos she'd taken at Cornwall Nature Reserve. Tina Marie Lally of Heymore was in Kennel Vale with her husband Dylan when they took the picture. The woods are home to an old gunpowder factory reclaimed by nature, and they're rumoured to be haunted since a horrific incident in 1838. She says, "We walked around taking photos, as you do. I posted my phone snaps on Facebook when I got home.
Yeah.
After a friend suggested looking up Kennel Vale hauntings on YouTube, my hubby and I did so, and have to say we did not watch anything very compelling. So I decided to do some research on the history of Kennel Vale.
Okay.
It's well documented that in 1838 there was an explosion killing a man called William Dunstan. William was known over the years to haunt the gunpowder works, and many sightings have been reported of shadowy figures following people around the woods."
Mm-hmm.
Tina said that's when she noticed something odd about the picture she had taken. She said, "When reading this, I felt a sense of unease and I got goosebumps. As earlier last evening, as I was flicking through my snaps, I noticed the shadow of a person in one of my shots." She thought that it might have been her husband, but he quickly quashed that, as while I was snapping away, Dylan had walked further down the valley and sat on the bench waiting for me. She thought to herself, have I captured a shadow person or William, or is there a rational explanation for my compelling and somewhat spooky image? It has certainly spooked me and my husband. I have never experienced anything like this before. Now, there's a website called the Spooky Isles.
Spooky Isles, right?
Have you ever
Cool.
seen the Spooky Isles
No.
before? It's worth checking out. There's lots of interesting sort of, I suppose it's sort of all paranormal stuff to do with, the British Isles.
Yeah.
And the Spooky Isles has shared reports of a shadow following people who walk around Kennel Vale. He says it isn't just the animals that inhabit those old buildings. The ghost of William Dunstan is believed to haunt the Vale, as well as other unexplained activity. So there's the website there. Is there anything?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. There's a lot of stuff we've covered in the past, like time slips there. Bold Street, Liverpool. Yeah, so there you go. Have you ever heard of the Hat Man?
No, what's the Hat Man?
This is a spooky vision that people often say that they dream about, and it's been documented in many different countries and cultures throughout the world. The entity has stalked human beings throughout history, not merely within a particular society or during a specific time. The author of a book called Sleep Paralysis, Nightmares, Nokibos, and the Mind-Body Connection. Amongst the Canadian Inuit, the word Umangernik, sorry if I'm not saying that, described this awake but paralyzed feeling, while the Japanese also had a word for it, which I'm not going to say. But yes, people had this sleep paralysis and saw a man in a hat quite often, and throughout different cultures and different things as well. There's a lot of articles about the Hat Man that you can see, so it's kind of connected to shadow people, but it looks of things, it's the hat, but it's more seen in dreams, whereas shadow people are seen in reality. Have you ever experienced a shadow person?
I have not seen, no.
There's a place I go in my work. It's like a car park, and often when I drive in or when I go past it, I'll say, "Oh, there's somebody standing there."
Yeah.
Out of the corner of my eye, I just see somebody stand there. I'll have to avoid that person. They'll knock them over. I'll look back again, and they're not there. There's nobody there, and it'd be in the middle of the day. It wouldn't be night and dusk or anything. But you just see a figure in black. I've just started calling the man in black. Just this black figure standing there. And when you look back again, he's away.
The only spooky thing I've experienced recently, and there may be nothing, I was walking up the Lisburn Road last week during the morning, and there was a young woman ahead of me, and she was just walking up the road, completely normal, just,
I'm sure you were, young man.
Nothing sinister about it, but she kept stopping.
Right.
And she would look to her side like this really quickly, and then she'd walk on, and I was kind of, I didn't really notice at first.
Yeah.
And then I kind of stopped, and she did it constantly. She'd take a few steps and freeze. Yeah. And I mean freeze.
Yeah.
And just go look to the side. And I thought, am I imagining this?
Maybe she had some sort of psychological condition.
And yeah, it was very odd, kind of.
Or she thought there was someone there following her.
Some strange bloke staring at her. Maybe that was it. Like, I don't know where I'm going with that. Like, you know, but there's one thing that's really just always find quite disturbing. It was the idea of, you know, when you have nightmares, it's almost like a real thing. Like, you know, like that sort of Freddy Krueger kind of kind of idea. But one thing that always disturbed me is talking about the science fiction horror thing. The scary idea of, you know, the way they talk about, you know, people being put into suspended animation so they can travel to the stars. You know, they're like sleeping for years.
It's like what you were talking about. Was it last week? Or
about
travel. Yeah.
And it's this idea of, what if you had nightmares?
Sure. Yeah.
But like, what if, say for talk's sake, you were going to Office Centauri or whatever, and you were put to sleep for 20 years? Fair enough. But what if you had continual nightmares?
Yes,
that's a really scary concept. And in fact, you could maybe work on into, if you're doing like a horror kind of science fiction kind of crossover. It could be.
But then, I often wonder, how long is a dream? Say you have a dream, is it real time, or could it happen like really fast or really slow? Could it happen over 4 hours, but you think it's like 5 minutes? What's happening, or could it happen in 3 or 4 seconds, but actually you think it's 5 minutes?
One
thing, I mean, it's kind of like is there data in your brain that's happening faster or slower, and you don't know about it because you're asleep?
And one thing I'm fascinated by, it's happened to me a lot recently, is I've fallen asleep, maybe watching the TV or listening to something, and it starts to influence your dreams.
Yes.
Like I had this very vivid dream recently, and I dreamt that I was on a suburban driveway.
Yeah.
And I was like sitting, it was like a tent, you know, like you'd have like in the desert sort of way.
Okay.
And
tent.
And slowly the suburban landscape had disappeared, and it was a desert. And there was a young woman just came out of nowhere, and she sat down and she started giving me this like lecture about medieval history.
Alright.
And I was like, okay. And she was like really intense and kind of posh.
Yeah.
I just went on for ages, and then I woke up and there's a thing on YouTube about medieval history. And there's a young posh woman giving this sort of like lecture about, I don't know, side drills or whatever, you know.
I'd love to see your YouTube.
But it was just really, it was weird. It was that sort of interesting thing of how it gets kind of influenced, you know. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
You know. But anyway, where are we going? Yes. What to do if you see a shadow person? It's normal to feel fearful if you see something as inexplicable as a shadow person, but according to experts, it's best to focus on staying grounded, and not letting yourself be overwhelmed by the discomfort of what you're experiencing. Experts advise, if you're encountering a shadowy person, the worst thing you can do is give it your fear, as entities with negative intent thrive on their ability to make us feel unsafe or uncomfortable, like an energy vampire.
Oh yes, like Colin Robinson.
Colin Robinson seems to be the theme of the day, really.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is call on spiritual protection, pray, or simply stand your ground by firmly telling the shadow person to leave you alone. If visions of these entities are ongoing, it might indicate it's time to do some spiritual cleansing of your energy field and your living space. If you're having multiple experiences with shadow people, you may want to consider doing a major energetic house cleansing.
Okay.
So it's a bit like, you know, how clean is your house, only to remove the entities.
Is there a special vacuum for doing that or something?
You need to hire a professional energy worker. You can spiritually cleanse your home and hopefully keep shadow people at bay by performing a protection ritual, putting out cleansing crystals in your home, or burning purifying herbs.
There you go.
So it'd be good. You need to sort of spiritually cleanse.
I think a lot of
your
people
space.
do burn purifying herbs these days.
So I think that's about it.
That's it. Okay, great. Well, thank you for listening. We'll be back with our weird shorts, and we'll be back again just in the autumn when it's starting to get all the leaves turning and all that. That'll be nice to look forward to. We'll be back with series 4, but keep listening.
I think we sit in autumnal sort of vibe.
Yeah. Also, it gets hot in this wee room in the summer. Don't want to be sitting
but
here
not in a good way.
No.
I don't really know what I meant by that, I'll tell you, but
well, no, I've rarely felt good in a hot way with you. No.
Where are we going with this? Like, I think we'll just wind it up.
Yeah.
Good.
Do remember to like and subscribe, weirdly enough, wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on YouTube. You can find us and subscribe to us there. It means that we are disappearing for a couple of months, but we're going to be back in the autumn with Series 4 of Weirdly Enough. Also, our Weird Shorts are going to be back then as well. So it means if you're subscribed to us, they'll pop up again for you in the autumn, and you'll be able to see them. But anyway, I have a few weird short stories and short items that I found in the news this week. A strange item of furniture has sparked suspicion at an Oxfam shop in Liverpool. The vintage wingback chair has had a sign attached to it by staff saying that it's definitely not haunted. So you can see that there's pictures of this chair on Twitter and Facebook and different things. And it says this chair is definitely not haunted. The chair style isn't everyone's taste, and while some members of staff love the antique looking chair, others have reservations about it, saying that they think it needs an exorcism. The chair's first found fame on Twitter when a photo of the sign was posted with the caption, "That's definitely something a haunted chair would say." That it's not haunted. Putting the chair to good use, Oxfam workers are encouraging people to take selfies with the chair in exchange for a small donation.
What's this? I didn't know it's haunted. Like, what's the story behind it?
Like, it just looks a bit old.
Oh, right,
yeah. Alright. And this is I feel a bit sorry for this guy. It's one of the mysteries of the modern age. Just who? I've lost my place. One of the mysteries of the modern world is just who is the artist Banksy. Well, for one councillor in Pembroke in Wales, he's been plagued so much by people constantly accusing him of being the wall vandal that he's had to resign his position. The town is nearly 140 miles away from Bristol, where Banksy started out. However, it hasn't stopped the accusations flying that Mr. William Gannon is the painter. Mr. Gannon announced his resignation on Facebook, saying, "I do not want this allegation to undermine the reputation of Pembroke Dock Town Council. Therefore, I have decided to step down as both town councillor and council rep to the port with immediate effect." I wonder how these allegations started out. Why do people believe he's Banksy? There you are. It's
strange the way he's never been identified.
It's strange the way this guy though was resigning.
Yeah.
He's like, why doesn't he just come out and say, "No, I'm not Banksy"? Maybe he's resigning so he can spend more time
with his family.
Doing vandalism.
Oh, vandalism of his... Yeah.
You see, that's the thing irritates me about Banksy. Graffiti is vandalism as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
If one of them went on my wall, well, maybe you could sell it for $1 million, couldn't you? But I'd love to paint over it. Just paint over it and get rid of it. This is a world record that's not for everyone. It's a bungee jumping world record. It's not the kind of thing that I would do, and certainly not if you have a fear of heights. But that hasn't put off a 44-year-old Frenchman, Francois-Marie de Bonne, who plans to break the record set for the most number of jumps in a 24-hour period. It was previously set by a New Zealander who jumped an astounding 430 times from Auckland Harbour Bridge one day in 2017. Mr. Dibben actually had a fear of heights himself, but he's overcome it. He's going to undertake the challenge in a rather wonderfully named village of Killycranky in Perthshire, Scotland. He intends to leap through the night, taking only small breaks and micro sleeps to rest. He attempted the challenge back in March, but suffered seasickness because of all the bouncing on the elastic cord. But since then, he spent a lot of time in the gym working on his fitness. De Bowen will need to complete a jump roughly every 200 seconds, with the feat being observed by someone from the Guinness Book of Records.
How long is he doing it for, does it say?
It's a full 24 hours.
What?
So he's just going up and down, yeah. You wonder, like, what life is in the elastic, you know? Would you get 400 jumps out of it and then maybe need it replaced? I don't know. And this is one... I was away for a break recently near Waterford, and the hotel where I was staying had a load of crows nesting nearby in trees, and it made me think of our old school days. We went to school and there was like a rookery or something. Do you remember that sound?
Yes, yeah,
the bleak sound. We went to school. This crowing all day. The song reminded me of cold. The sound reminded me of cold, bleak November mornings. It's that
and it was could be a very bleak place, no wonder. With the wind sort of whopping about.
Researchers from the University of Exeter have made studies and recordings of the calls that jackdaws make, and now believe that the noise they make is similar to the uproar in the House of Commons when all the birds discuss whether they'll fly off somewhere. So they're voting, basically. After sleeping, each bird will have different ideas of when it wants to take off and look for food based on its size and hunger state. However, they all reach a consensus on when they want to take off. Leaving in a big group means they're safer from predators and can also work together to find food. So they all set about talking about when they're going to leave. The research helps scientists to understand how large groups of animals can coordinate their actions. One other thing I remember hearing about crows or jackdaws is that they are the only animal beside humans that believe in delayed gratification. So they realize that if they bury food instead of eating it, when they come back, the food will have attracted maggots, so there's more to eat.
Nice.
Yeah, it would be nice if you're a jackdaw. I'm sure a load of nice maggots. So there you go. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, that's quite a strange one of it all.
So I'm feeling a bit sad now. We're coming to the end.
Yeah, it's
end of series 3.
We'll have
the
to
difficult third series.
We'll have to do something new for season 4.
Yes,
we could get down to those air raid shelters.
Maybe new presenters. Get rid of us. And
somebody more glamorous.
Somebody in from Country File.
Country File.
I don't know.
He does Country File.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I don't really watch. I like that. I like Spring Watch still. There's something quite kind of
it's kind of it's relaxing. Yeah.
And there's something about Chris. Yeah. What's his name? He's kind of.
He gets very intense. There's been a few times that he's kind of lost it on social media.
He always seems a bit irritated.
Yeah, that's the impression I get. He gets very irritable sometimes. Chris Packham.
And of course, Mikkel Strachan used to be Hitman and Her.
Yes, that was back in the day.
She kind of danced and Pete Waterman.
It was
different times.
It was the day of they used to go to provincial nightclubs, didn't they?
Yes, yeah, that was it. Yeah.
And they'd be talking to sort of carpet fitters from Peterborough.
Yeah,
about what they're doing on their night out, etc.
Different times.
Yeah, those are the times. Did you ever fancy going on the Hitman and Her?
No, because I don't really remember it the first time round.
It was sort of before our time. Yeah, I think you'd be talking sort of.
I think it was on during during our life, obviously, but we were
a wee bit too young.
Kids.
Yeah, we were more sort of TFI Friday sort of era, I think.
Yeah.
The Word.
The Word. Talking to The Word, I swear I saw Terry Christian walking in Newton Ards. It was Terry Christian, only he looked like a 60-year-old Terry Christian.
But does Terry Christian not look like a 60-year-old Terry Christian?
Yes, I looked him up on socials, and this bloke looked identical to Terry Christian.
That's like the time I came out of a pub in South Belfast, and I nearly bumped into your man Rankin that done the Rebus.
Right?
Yeah.
Was it him?
It was. He was strolling about, just sort of nonchalantly. I was like, is that your man Rankin that does Rebus? As it turned out, there was some sort of literary conference in Queens.
Yeah.
And he was the head guy on it.
Right.
So that's why he was there,
I went to see Joe Nesbo talk once, the guy that writes all those. I can't remember what the books are. He's a very arrogant character. I thought he was very arrogant. Yeah.
He's like Norwegian or something.
Yeah. He was a footballer once, and he was a banker, and he used to be during the day he was a banker, and then he played in a rock band at night, and he would tour with us, right? What?
He sounds like Walter Mitty. He sounds like
Yeah. His books are alright, but I wouldn't write.
He's the guy that did The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
I was gonna say Henning Menkel, but that's the Wallander guy. No, I can't remember The Girl with the Dragon.
He was like a journalist, but he's dead now.
Stig Larsson,
yeah.
He was good. I'm reading a new Icelandic one at the minute. It's Oscar or something you call him. He's quite good. Sorry, I know we're going off of the tangents just because I don't
want to... tangents make this.
I'll open up my Kindle. Wait for it to load. Oscar Gudmundsson. It's called The Commandments. Yeah, it's a bit strange, but it's quite good. I like all that Nordic noir stuff. It seems to be about like a ring of paedophile priests,
right?
And somebody's killing them in the future, like after an incident happened maybe 20 years ago, and they're trying to find out who's doing it. And you don't even know if they were, but you kind of assume that they maybe were. Sorry,
we're getting a lot of recommendations.
It's a bit dark. Yeah, well, we're giving people something for a nice holiday read. That one, about the
it used to be a thing, wasn't it? Holiday
about the Icelandic nonsense. Anyway, we will be back in September. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks for listening to Weirdly Enough. Remember to subscribe to get the latest edition as soon as it drops. And don't forget to leave a review. Email us about anything we've discussed or with your own weird tale at podcast@weirdlyenough.com.